Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on the View from the Crowd YouTube channel, and today we are going to be previewing the Eifel Grand Prix, German Grand Prix, whatever you want to call it. We are back at the Nurburgring, and I've been waiting so long for this. I don't think we've raced at the Nurburgring since I think about 2013. It's always used to be one of my favourite tracks. Even on the games, it was one of my favourite tracks to drive. It was provided some great racing, some iconic moments over the years. But we're back. Finally, we're back. And because it's been 7 years since the last time that we raced at the Nurburgring, it's hard to preview it because just like Mugello was a track that we'd never raced at before. So it was really difficult. You had to sort of base it on the track layout, same as what I'm going to have to do for this one. There's not too many overtaking opportunities, but there are definitely, I think we will see overtaking this track. Just as we saw in Mugello, we thought it would just be, a complete sort of like scale electric, everyone's on one track. But no, we saw overtaking and drama at the at Mugello, and I think we could definitely see some drama at the Nurburgring. The track is always in plenty of use. It's not like it's a completely dormant track, so the surface is going to be pretty worn in and pretty abrasive, so we could see quite high tire deg. I'm not too sure which compounds they're bringing to the race, but I think it wouldn't be a bad shout if they maybe brought some softer options just to make the race a little bit more interesting. Anyway, enough about that. Let's get straight into the teams. Of course, we start, as always, with Mercedes. Home Grand Prix didn't exactly work out well for them last year, but certainly they're going to be looking to keep pushing on. Valtteri Bottas has got a win under his belt and now needs to press on. He needs to win this race. If he's wanting to mount any form of a challenge to Lewis Hamilton, he needs to win this race. The thing is, on the other hand, then Lewis will want to be pushing on after a pretty dire weekend from him. Yeah, he put it on pole, but the race just really didn't go his way, and it was pretty poor from him. Mercedes look like they have a good, strong package here. I think the way the track is going to suit them very well. It's got only a few straights, but a lot of long, slow corners. So I think that could really help, benefit Mercedes because quite a lot of downforce on that car, and then even on the sort of the higher speed sections, I think they're going to really sort of push on and do really well. But equally saying that, I think Red Bull could have a shout because of the way that the track is and the way it does have those slower speed corners and the sort of areas of the track where it requires quite a lot of downforce. I think Red Bull could actually do very well here. They were the winners last time we raced here in 2013, just holding off Kimi Raikkonen. But it was Sebastian Vettel who won the race. So I think Red Bull could be sort of a little bit confident coming into this race and thinking that they could come away with a win. It honestly wouldn't surprise me if they did. I think they've got a great package. It's just that they've just been sort of unlucky, and to be honest, Red Bull did a lot better in Russia than I thought they would do, and I think they could really push on here and really challenge Mercedes. And as I said, if the tyres are in their favour, I think they could possibly win it. Now on to third place McLaren, and honestly, I keep bigging up McLaren thinking this is the race they're going to push on, this is the race they're going to do well, but they've been slacking recently, and they gapped to fourth in to Racing Point in the championship is now down to only 2 points. And honestly, I don't see this weekend going that well for McLaren. They seem to have a lot of issues with wind sensitivity, and I think that could be a huge factor into this race. Especially with the track goes in all directions, and they could be, and if the wind is constantly changing, those two cars are going to really struggle. So it may not be ideal for McLaren. But you know what? I will say this. This could be a wet race. I'm not completely sure of the forecast, but this is the Nürburgring. We had the 24 hours 2 weeks ago, and it was absolutely pissing it down. That was only a couple of weeks ago, and this is sort of Germany in sort of October, expect there to be quite a bit of rain. So it could be interesting if McLaren, if it is a wet race, but a dry race, I can see them probably falling short of maybe the Racing Point and then maybe the Renault. Yeah, now we're moving on to Racing Point, and I think it could be a good race for them. I think it's going to be fairly similar to to Sochi. I think Racing Point can really push on here. Sergio Perez did an amazing job last weekend, and I think he's going to continue and push that onwards. The Racing Point also looks very good in Mugello through the slower sort of tighter sections which Nurburgring has. So it could be a track that suits them fairly well. I would say the characteristics are kind of like Spain with the sort of the slower sections, and then you have some high speed sections. Of course, you have that sort of the quick left, quick right, and up the hill before you get into that really tight chicane and hairpin, which ends the lap. And then you've got that sort of first sector, which is very windy and very tight. So I think Racing Point could do quite well here. But they definitely need to be wary of Renault. I think Renault could possibly be the strongest midfield team this weekend. Their car is very good in the slow corners, as we saw in Spa. I think it could be a similar race to Spa for Renault. It's just I keep saying this, but it's just amazing how varied, how close, but how varied the three midfield challenges are. I think it really could be a good race. Of course, I'm hoping for McLaren to come out on top, but Racing Point and Renault, I think, are going to look very strong, and I think they're going to be the two midfield teams that are going to be really sort of on the ball this weekend, and really hoping that they're going to be the ones that come on with a possible podium, but at least topping that sort of midfield. And then if Racing Point do that, then they're going to be taking third in the constructors. Now moving a little lower down, we've got Ferrari. Sebastian Vettel's home race. He'll definitely be wanting to push on and do well, but I think it could be definitely a bit of a struggle for Ferrari, especially in qualifying. I don't think they're going to be having, the pace to really get into Q3. I think Q2 is going to be the sort of end pointing on Saturday. But I think when it comes to the race, Charles Leclerc has been doing the business. They've worked very well, with the strategy and sort of with their race pace. They've been doing very well. So I think Ferrari will definitely have a lot better race than they do qualifying. But qualifying, I'm not exactly holding my breath and saying that they're going to do well, because honestly, I don't think they will. Of course, it would be nice for both Ferraris to get the points, but whether that's going to happen or not, I'm not sure. Just remember, after the two Mercedes, two Red Bulls, there's only 6 places up for grabs in terms of points, and when you've got such a fierce teams in Racing Point, Renault, and McLaren, it's going to be very difficult to try and fit 2 Ferraris in there, or even saying that the AlphaTauri can do well. So yeah, I think maybe one set of points for Ferrari, but certainly not both drivers. Speaking of the Devils, AlphaTauri could be a good race for them. It's just a weird team. They're weird in the fact that they don't do great in qualifying. They don't really have great qualifying pace, but in terms of their race pace, it is really, really good. And it's definitely interesting to see how they're going to perform and how they're going to do well. Going on, Gasly's been putting in performances left, right, and centre. Daniel Kvyat, I think he's gone massively under the radar this season. I think he's been doing an excellent job. It's just the fact that Pierre Gasly has been doing that bit better that's kind of overshadowed his performances this season. But he got in the points in Sochi, and I think he's going to want to get in the points again here at the Nurburgring. But I think it's probably important for the torpedo not to get into any first corner incidents. That first corner is going to be deadly. It's so tight, it's so slow, and it's downhill. You lock up, you're just going to keep going because you've got the momentum. The sort of downhill is going to just keep you going. So any late lunges or anything, you've got to get spot on, otherwise you are going to just go careering into the side of of the driver that you're trying to overtake. And if it's raining, then that problem's sort of doubly worse. So yeah, it could be interesting, but you can only sort of hope for a wet race and hope for some drama. And I think AlphaTauri, if it does rain, I think they could take real advantage of that. Now onto the calamitous Ferrari customer teams. I really should give them their own little theme tune. But yeah, Haas and Alfa Romeo. I feel like I say the same thing for them every week. I don't expect them to get into. I expect maybe the Haas to get into Q2 or one of the Alfa Romeos to get into Q2, but any further than that is just not going to happen. You've got. It's just so competitive, and they've just been left behind because, well, in part of Ferrari, and in part because they just haven't built great cars. But even saying that, they consistently finishing ahead of at least one Ferrari car. There's always been a Ferrari customer team finishing ahead, of a Ferrari car since Spa. And that's not great from Ferrari's standpoint. But it shows that if it wasn't for the engines or how bad they've been, then Alfa Romeo or even Haas could be fairly competitive this season. Imagine if Ferrari had built a decent engine and not screwed around with their car. They could be challenging Mercedes and Red Bull. We'd have a tight battle there, and then we'd have Alfa Romeo and Haas already in this amazingly brilliant midfield battle. But it's just what it is at the end of the day, and yeah, it'd be interesting to see whether they're able to beat Ferrari this weekend. But realistically, I don't think so, and that's a real shame. Now, finally, on to Williams. Now, I'm really torn on whether or not I think one of the Williams is going to get into Q2. Honestly, it's like my heart says yes, but my head is just saying no at the moment. I really do think it's probably going to be two cars out in Q1 for Williams. George has always done a brilliant job on Saturdays, and he's always seemed to just pull this thing out of the bag. We saw in Sochi he'd been consistently running slower than Nicholas Latifi, but then he ended up just smashing it and putting it in midway, almost into the top 10 in Q1, while Latifi was absolutely left in the dust down in 19th or 20th. So it's only going to be interesting to see what Williams can do, but I'm not expecting much, and genuinely I think it could be out in Q1 and then just the finishing sort of back end of the field in the race, because that's just the way that their season's gone. So there we have it. That is my preview for the Eifel Grand Prix. I don't know why they just didn't call it the German Grand Prix. I guess they don't have the rights in some way to call it the German Grand Prix, I guess, because it's been held at Hockenheim. You can't have a German Grand Prix held at the Nurburgring or something like that. I don't know. It's stupid. But anyway, we're going to have a race at the Nurburgring this season, and I hope that we continue to get races in Germany, because races in Germany are amazing. The German fans have got so much to root for, with Sebastian Vettel, and with his future secured in Formula One now. It could be interesting, to see if the FIA, decide to keep Nürburgring on the calendar, if this weekend's a good race, or even return to Hockenheim, because Hockenheim, we've had two great races in the last 2 years that we've been there, and it's always been a race that I've always looked forward to. It's a great track. Nürburgring is also a great track. I wish we could just go back to the time where we were alternating between the two. That would be, great, but who knows. Also, a quick look at the weather on my phone shows that it has a 50% chance of rain on Saturday and Sunday, with a 70% chance of rain on Friday. So we could have an entirely wet weekend, which would be absolutely brilliant. This track has thrown up some great stuff in the rain, and I think it is a very challenging track in the rain. So, it could be really good. Just fingers crossed that it actually rains this year. I know we had a kind of a bit of a wet start in Hungary, but we haven't had a proper wet race. So anyway guys, that's all from me today. If you did like this video, make sure to leave a like. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe down below. If you don't follow my blog already, that's down in the description. I've been posting a lot of new content on there, so make sure to check that out. So guys, that's all from me. Thank you so much for watching. My name's been Ed. Thank you and goodbye.